In this video, I will tell you how you can make a character controller for your FPS player. We will start with nothing, to creating a basic controller, to creating an advanced one complete with acceleration and variable speed, which you can use in pretty much all of your FPS games. Before we start, here is a rundown of our vanilla project. We have a world scene where we will test our player, and our player is just a empty character body 3D with a gun attached to it. And the gun is just a simple JPEG image. With all the prerequisites done, let's create an empty script to our player. Remove everything because we will be creating everything on our own. Any FPS controller has essentially two parts. One is to capture our mouse's movement to rotate our player, and the second is to actually move our player with our keyboard. Let us start with the first one. First, we'll have to capture our mouse. By capturing, I mean that we want to prevent it from actually moving across the screen. This is done so that 1. The cursor does not annoy you while playing the game, and 2nd, the cursor does not actually move out of the game's window. To do this, first we'll call upon our input class. This is an inbuilt class in Godot that handles all the input handling of your game, and in here we will change our mouse mode to be mouse mode captured. With this done, now to actually track our mouse's movement, we will go to our input function and put a check on our current event. If our current input event is of us moving our mouse, we will go and rotate our player. To rotate our player, we will change its rotation along the y-axis, directly proportional to the amount our mouse has moved in the horizontal direction, that is the x-axis. Now what this expression does is that it tracks the difference between the mouse's position between the current and the previous frame, multiplies that difference by our mouse sense factor, and then rotates us in the y-axis by that amount. And with this, the first part of our player controller is done. Now, for writing the basic movement script, first we will have to record our input direction. This will be a vector provided by the input class where we will map our input actions to positive and negative directions. However, before we actually move our player, we have to first make sure that it is on the ground. So just check that if we are not on the floor, we apply gravity to our player's velocity, making it fall down. The basic structure of any movement script is that if we have any direction that is being applied to the player, we will go ahead and increase the velocity of our player. And if there is no direction, we will work towards stopping the player. Since our input direction is a 2D vector and we are dealing with a 3D game, we have to first convert this 2D vector into a 3D one. We will make a new variable called moveDirection and make use of our transform.basis vector. Okay, I will just give a very practical explanation of what this vector is and not go in much theoretical detail, as then this video will become a very long math lesson and we do not want that. So in Godot, by default, it is assumed that your forward direction is going to be the negative z-axis. That is the direction towards which you are facing towards, and the x-axis is the direction just perpendicular to it. That is your left and right. So the negative z coordinate of your transform.basis vector is the direction at which your player is facing towards in your game, and then the x component of this vector is your strafing side, that is your left and right. And the reason behind it is a very big old math lesson and I'm pretty sure you do not want to listen to it. So with this knowledge, let us just take our transform.basis vector and multiply our input direction to it to get our strength, that is the amount we are moving in both our forward and lateral axes. Normalize this vector to bring its magnitude to 1 so that it does not interfere with our speed calculations, and then this whole thing will become our movement direction. And now a basic movement, although not ideal, can be to directly make our velocity to max speed when we are moving and to abruptly put it at 0 when we are not. This works, but it is very jarring and does not look and feel pretty good. We can do much better just by adding a few simple things. Now this is done by adding acceleration to our game. We make 3 variables, one for our acceleration, the other for our maximum speed, and the third for our current speed. Now our goal while moving would be to increase our current speed by an acceleration amount each frame until it reaches our maximum speed, and then multiply the speed magnitude to our velocity. And when we are not moving, we make our current speed to 0. Simple changes, but now it already plays much better. One final thing that we can do is to add a deceleration. So when we are not moving, instead of directly putting our velocity to 0, we decrease it step by step by deceleration amount each frame. So in short, we linearly increase our movement speed and linearly decrease it as well. And with this, we have made our FPS player controller. This video is a part of my ongoing series of making an FPS game in Godot. So if you like this one, why don't you go and check out the other parts as well, and if not, well, like and subscribe.